What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into tonight's basketball games, and there's also a football game that I'm liking here. It's the Raging Cajuns here playing Houston, and the reason I like the game is because Houston is, I believe they're 11-3. I think they're 10-3 on the over, or something, or 10-2 on the over this year, and not that 11-2 would not be possible. But again, the metric would suggest more people are going to be pounding the over, and that they usually don't finish in the high 80s or even in the mid 80s. So I do like the under in this University of Louisiana and Houston game. I do think the under 56 hits. So I like the under for that game. We closed the only leg two we had. We did lose. We played the Spurs to cover 8.5, and they didn't. That was only a leg one. I think we have 3 or 4 sequences that we need a leg two for. But Houston, that college game is going to be, that college football game is going to be a leg one as well. Now, this one here, I actually am going to make a leg two. And I like the Knicks to cover. And it's not for any metric. It's another narrative, especially because they lost. We had the Toronto beating them because I thought the line was fishy. Bulls have been looking pretty strong. I think they want the Knicks rolling into Christmas looking like a pretty fine-tuned unit. The Sixers don't have to win. They don't have. They can even look kind of bad, and people will still take them. The Knicks, they're going to have, in my opinion, a strong game. So I like them to cover. That'll be a leg two. And here's another one with the Mavericks. Now, the Mavericks did just cover, but I've noticed they have not covered a spread like this all year, maybe about like 2 times, where they're giving 6 points or more. They usually cover games where they're about money line games. So for that reason, I actually do like Dallas. I think people are going to be fading them, understanding every single time they pick them, laying a decent bit of points, they always seem to not cover. So I like Dallas here to cover. And here's another one. It's on NBA TV, so there's going to be shenanigans. And in this one, it's simple. I like the Nets. I think they want Milwaukee to look strong, but here's a really good game for them to make the Nets look like a bona fide top team. And if you look at the history, the Bucks won game 1. It doesn't necessarily mean Nets win game 2, but I also think the fact that, just like Cleveland, the fact that the Nets are a favorite, they're going to show a couple weaknesses here in the Bucks, in my opinion. Again, no Chris Middleton. This is what they did in the playoffs. They started the season fine without him, but it's like once they get him and then he's out, they seem to play differently. So I like the Nets to cover that game there. And the Heat have been very fishy lately. You notice both teams are 16-16, and you notice the spread 6, so a lot of 6s there. But I like the Heat to cover the spread. Their record against the spread typically won't hold. 10-20 is just a really bad record. Typically won't hold. So for the metric alone, I like the Heat to cover that spread. And then we have, this one's a very interesting one because if you look at the metrics, Portland's very, very good against the spread. At the same time, I don't think they put Denver 3 games ahead of Portland. So it's kind of going both ways, in my opinion. So I'm not playing this game. If you want my opinion, though, just let me know in the comments. I don't want to make the mistake of just playing games to play them. In this game here, I do love... Let me just think about it. I was going to say I love Memphis. Make sure nobody's hurt. Bane is out. Booker's out. I still think enough people will be on the Suns at home. And with Booker out, I think they want Memphis to look like, again, a team that can beat anybody. So the only way they can look like they can beat anybody is if they win in Phoenix. So that's another one. You look at the other games, and this is their first one. So anybody could win this one, but the Suns don't need to win as much as the Grizzlies on ESPN, in my opinion. So I do like the Grizzlies to cover there. And then I do like, I'm not going to lie, with the Wizards. The reason I like covers with the Wizards is because I feel like they also have upset potential games. Uh, this is their one of 2 games against the Kings. But even though they have a really bad record, I do think they might get it turned around and not finish quite as bad as they started. And Sacramento very good against the spread here. So people probably going to be taking Sacramento pretty hard here, fading Washington, and until Washington starts putting some wins together. So here I do like Washington to cover this spread. And then the last one here is going to be the Hornets and Lakers. And you see 8-24 with the Hornets. They love that number. And for the Lakers, 3 points I feel like is such a trap. I'm sure a lot of guys are out. They got LeBron's probably out. Even if he's not, it makes no sense. I think just in my opinion, it makes no sense for the Hornets to be getting this kind of line. Let's not forget Michael Jordan's their owner, and then they're 8-24. So do they stay on 24? Or do they stay on 8? Kind of hard, right? Because those are both Kobe's numbers. But Kobe did play with Jordan. I think when he was 24. I can't remember. Either way, I do like the Hornets to cover here because I think it's a trap line. I think most of the public is going to look at this and say, "There's no way the Lakers can't beat the Hornets." So everyone's going to be on the Lakers specifically to cover, I think, because the people are going to be thinking they're getting better odds. So this I'm making a leg 2. Hornets to cover this 3 points. It just seems like a trap. So just to run a recap on these games, and I'm going to go into because this is one I have not gone into yet. Here's another one, 3.5. It could be a close game. Really no injuries on either side. Believe it or not, this is my pick for the NBA Finals. So that being said, I'm taking. I'm gonna see if they play once. They play twice this year. Okay, I was just curious to see. I think they're gonna make their games very, very close, and in this game, I do like the Clippers to cover. This is just because I think it's gonna be a very close game. So I just like the cover. As I said, Philly does not need this win or this cover, to look strong against the Knicks. The Knicks do indeed, in my opinion, need the cover. So I like the Clippers here to cover against the 76ers. I do think the Nets at home cover against the Bucks. I think the Knicks at home cover against the Bulls. I think the Heat at home cover against the Pacers. I think the Mavericks at cover on the road against the Rockets. I do like the Grizzlies here to cover on the road. Sorry, I got a little bit of background here. I got my window open. Get some cross breeze. I got the Hornets here covering. I think the Hornets is a great cover on the road. And here I like the Wizards to cover. Now, as I was scrolling, I did notice one game that stuck out to me. There's actually 2 that I'm sure people are going to want to look at. This one, we got Cleveland giving 4.5. Now, they just blew out the Bucks. So, I'm not in love with this game. But I do like the Raptors in this game to cover the 4.5. It just makes sense to me. And the other one that is an interesting game here is a 10-point spread that normally with the metric I would like the Wolves, but I think a 10-point spread is pretty insane. The Wolves are a very talented team and they have a 500 record. It's not like they're like the Warriors who are completely depleted right now, or they're the Hornets with a horrible record. So this one's interesting. I think the Celtics cover this 10 points because after the Pacers game they just had, and just in general, the Wolves have looked pretty good. They beat Luka pretty bad, then he came back, but I don't think too many people are going to be laying 10 points against the Timberwolves, even with the Celtics. That's just my opinion. So I just saw them at the end and thought I'd add them. So like I said, I do like the Hornets to cover probably the most of all these games, if not the Knicks to cover. But upon looking at them, I do find it interesting that, again, we have 4.5 might sound like a decent bit of points, but not in perspective. They just blew out the Bucks. Toronto just eked by I think it was the Knicks. So I do like Toronto here to cover the spread that I think more people are going to be on Cleveland. So we're not playing about 2 or 3 games. They're mostly East games, teams that suck. Trae Young and others, just because they always seem to screw me over. But again, Clips cover, just for any last recap, and sometimes I'll say a wrong team, so I want to make sure we have it for sure. I like the Clips here to cover. I do like the Celtics to cover. Nets cover. Raptors cover. Knicks cover. Heat cover. Mavericks cover. I like the Grizzlies cover. And I like the Wizards and Hornets to both cover. So those are all my plays. I'm staying away from the Pelicans Thunder. If I had to pick here, it's really a tough one because you got 2 metrics. If I had to pick, I'd probably lean Thunder cover just because I think way more people are going to be on the Pelicans. But I'm not playing that. I'm not playing this one. This one, probably lean Atlanta just because 9 points is a lot. So if any, that's just for the people that want every game. But I'm not playing these ones. If I had to, again, probably just San Antonio because with games like this, either team could really win, so I'll take the points. But the ones I went over just a second ago, I am playing those games. I'm not playing this game. Again, I'd lean very slightly for the Blazers cover because I think they want to keep the division pretty close. But I'm not playing this one either. It's important not to just play games to play them. So we're going to have about 8 or so in action, and we're going to also have Houston football. So I wanted to go into all that, and we will be going into more NFL. I just put on my Packers path to the playoffs video, and I'll be going into other teams. Some have some interesting paths. Giants, Bengals, Patriots, Lions, Panthers, Falcons, Ravens, all these teams. 27 of the 32, I believe, are still in the hunt technically. So it should be very interesting, and it's going to be fun to watch. But I wanted to get basketball out there for everybody for tonight. No college plays that I love, but I do like the college football game. So take care, everybody, and happy earnings.